Melvin, thank you so much for lending me some of your very precious time. We've been kind of floating in the same circles for a little bit now. We've played some RP together, but before we get into the inner workings of the character Melvin Spiel and some of the other stuff that you've developed over time, I want to start by understanding your kind of early gaming experience. What was the first console? Were you always on PC? Like, where did it start out for you? Were you an early adopter for gaming?
Yeah, I'd have I had a Sega when I was little.
Yeah,
When I was younger. That was mainly for Sonic though.
yeah.
Sonic, and then I didn't really play games until maybe I don't know when the PS2 came out,
Right. Okay.
sort of thing. And then I started playing a game called Freedom Fighters, and then Hitman
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and yeah, just kind of went from there. But then I got an Xbox, and when I got an Xbox is when I really started getting into games.
Okay,
You know
so
what I
you
mean?
switched over to Xbox from PlayStation. Why did you do that out of curiosity?
Because of my wife, really.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I've known her years. I've known her years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had an Xbox, and I just preferred the controller and that,
Yeah.
and just kind of got into that. And then I played Assassin's Creed, and I was like, it's only on the Xbox. I have to get it on Xbox X, but it's not. It's on PlayStation as well. But I didn't know that. So yeah.
I feel like the controller is like a big reason that a lot of people went to Xbox. Like when the PS5 was released, I think a lot of people considered, apart from the exclusives, but because they changed up the controller and made it, it's not exactly the same as Xbox now, but it's everything's a
Yeah.
bit more compact and close together. That people were less drawn to Xbox, and of
I
course
mean,
now
you can
all
get
the Xbox
PlayStation ones,
exclusives.
can't you?
You
can
can,
get Xbox, PlayStation sort of controllers.
yes, yeah.
And the Steam controller is the Switch Elite controllers, all that sort of, and they're all based on the Xbox controller.
Yes, yeah. I played on the. That was one of the things I didn't like about PlayStation when I first got it. To be honest, well, my brother-in-law had a PS4, and I played on Switch, and I used the Switch Pro controller, which is basically the Xbox controller, and I couldn't play on PlayStation controllers for ages and ages because everything just felt like it was miles apart and a bit janky.
Yeah.
So you switched to Xbox, played Assassin's Creed,
And Gears of War.
and
Gears of War is
War.
the thing that kept me on Xbox, though.
Right. Okay.
Because it was an Xbox exclusive, and I got in the beta of Gears of War 2, or was it 3? It might have been 3 because my friend used to work at Game. Do you remember Game?
Yes, I do remember Game.
And he got a beta code for it, and then I just became obsessed with Gears of War.
And then just
and then it was that, but I only started getting a PC because I found out about Steam,
right.
And there's a lot of stuff you can get on PC but you can't get on consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was interested in, like, the first game I was really interested in for PC was called the Stomping Lands, and it was a online game where you played as a tribesman, and you'd fight dinosaurs and ride dinosaurs, kind of like Ark, but before Ark.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the reason I started, on the PC. I didn't have the best computer, but yeah, it was pretty good. But then the guys stopped making the game, so I just thought, well, all right.
I think, like, it feels to me like I have a PC, right, but I just have it for the purposes of streaming, and I have a few games now that I play on PC, and obviously roleplay that we'll get into a little bit is you need PC for that.
Yeah.
But like I'm the guy, right? If there's a problem in the house, I own Apple phones. If there's a problem in the house, I'll get a real man to come and fix it. Like, I just want things to work and be done. And I feel like that's the biggest thing with PCs. It's like, even people who I know play on PC, I was like, oh, well, I'm thinking about getting a PC or upgrading my PC. What shall I get? And they just reel off letters and numbers to me that are like Greek.
It's confusing because you can I haven't upgraded this computer since I got it, and I've had it like 2 years.
Yeah.
I'd say when it comes to computers, just wait until if you want to play AAA game on your PC and it lags, or you have to put it on low settings, but you want to play it in high settings, then get a better graphics card or something.
And did you go through the process of building your own PC, or did you buy pre-built?
No, I bought pre-built.
Okay.
Because I knew I wanted a gaming PC because I wanted to code in that as well.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I've been coding for a long time before I even got into, like, proper PC gaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it works fine. Red Dead, GTA, all them sort of games I can run on ultra settings, and that
Nice.
VR, it's VR ready. It still works with VR,
Yeah.
so it's fine. I don't really think about it, and I wouldn't know what I'm doing if I had to change the graphics card and that. I have to get
That's
someone to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think
It's
I think that's
confusing.
probably the route I would go down, because it's just, there's so much into it in terms of not even just like what's the best graphic card, what's the rest, what's the best X, Y, and Z. It's like those things have to work interdependently as well. It's
Hmm.
like if you've got a high spec one here, but it doesn't compatible with this side here, and your motherboard isn't, there's all of that kind of stuff. I'm not the guy. I don't think that's going to get into that
Not me
space of
either.
going. I can't do it. I just want to play the game, right? Which is why I love the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's for the
'cause I just
consoles.
turn it on.
Yeah, you just turn it on, you can play.
Yeah, but obviously, as you said, there's restrictions to that. So you mentioned about the coding in there. Like before, was it always around coding for like games? And we'll get into the stuff that you do in terms of the coding. But was it always coding for games, or were you just programming in general? Like,
It was just
where
games.
did the coding start? Just for games?
It's because I always wanted to. I like making stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then I thought the best. I just one day I came across a program on Steam
Yeah.
when I first downloaded it, and it was free. It was called Game Maker, and I did the tutorials on that, and then I was just amazed that I made something and I can actually play it.
Yeah.
And then from that, I just kind of got obsessed with it. And then I just make little games. I even made a Suarez simulator. You remember when Suarez, the football player, bit someone? I gave him a donkey's body, and then you go around biting people.
Why is that not in existence right now? You could have done that at various points throughout history. You could have done the Mike Tyson version when he bit Evander
I didn't think about
Holyfield.
that.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably quite a lot of bitings that you could just
Yeah.
adapt that game. You could have been like the Subway Surfer of your generation,
Oh,
but
it'd been
for
good.
like for biting.
Nah, but it's only recently I've started to understand it more. I've been doing coding for years, game maker coding anyway, which
Mhm.
is kind of like Java, GML. It's got
Right.
its own language,
Yeah.
and it's just and it's drag and drop as well. So that's what teaches you. You drag it
Okay,
in the
nice.
bars, the codes, and that, and then you learn the language while you do it.
Okay.
But it's only when I started getting into Lua coding for like Red Dead,
Hmm.
but I kind of understand it a bit more because that's a bit more complex than GML.
Okay, nice. So let's talk about Red Dead then. I mean, this is how we came across each other,
Hmm.
or at least how I found out about you. I'd started playing Red Dead 2. I'd met Dead Friend Redemption, who's
Yeah.
fairly big in that space, and then he said to me, "Hey, there's this guy in RP, and he's hilarious." Like, first of all, was Red Dead 2 one of those games? Like, were you a Rockstar guy? Had you played those games previously, or were you fairly new to Red Dead 2? Had you played Red Dead Redemption and all that kind of stuff
Yeah, no, I played
beforehand?
Red Dead Revolver.
Okay, right, okay.
And then I played Red Dead 1. And then
Yeah.
I played Red Dead on Nightmare, Undead Nightmare.
Yeah.
And then I played Red Dead 1 again, but I played it online. And I
Okay.
really liked there's a mode in it called Showdown.
Yeah.
And 5 people would stand across from each other and shoot, and then it turned into Team Deathmatch.
Right, okay, nice.
And you could join a posse. And what I used to do is I used to go on online because you could talk to people on there, like
Yeah.
and that. I would join their posse and kill the leader, and he'd just get so angry. And they'd spend the whole time chasing you around the thing, and I just thought it was fun. And then I played Red Dead 2, obviously, when it came out, and I only played the story once.
You've played the story once.
Yeah, I won't be playing it again.
Let's get this out of the way, because this is the question. Like, what are your thoughts on Red Dead 2 as a game and Red Dead 2 story?
I think it's probably one of the best stories ever, to be honest. In gaming, it's a masterpiece, really. And I'm not just saying that because I like Red Dead.
Yeah,
it really is for a cowboy game, and like how deep the characters are.
yeah.
I think it's really perfect. And
it's one of very few games, even within, I know there's people that are just like really heavily invested in Rockstar, but I did not get the same emotional connection in like GTA 5, for example, as I did. Like, GTA 5 was a game that I played through and it was fine, but in Red Dead, you really properly invested in in the characters, in the story. Like you can't really step away from that. Whereas I think with GTA 5, you can just kind of run and gun it and power
Yeah,
through the story.
I'm
Red
not a
Dead, you
fan of
really want to
GTA,
savor
to
it.
be honest.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. I'd rather not play it. I
yeah,
only bought GTA 5 to play online.
yes, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's quite. It's also it's a lot more cinematic, and I don't mean that in terms of like cutscenes, but cinematic in terms of like story arc.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see how easily that could be made into
A
a
movie,
TV series or a
TV
movie
series.
or any
Yeah,
of that kind of stuff, because it's got that kind of perfect story arc. And there's also one of the things I like about Red Dead 2 is all the things that you don't know, right? Like you don't know what happened
hmm
before the gang got together. There's kind of hints of stuff at the past. You don't
yeah.
know
But
what
that's good
happened
though, because that can always lead on to another game. I mean,
exactly.
Dutch. He was in Red Dead One, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah,
and he's a bad guy or whatever.
yeah,
Bad guy. Um, and he's in Red Dead 2. He could be in Red Dead 3. It could be about him when he was younger.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
so many different ways they could go with it. Or they could
I,
just, Red Harlow, for instance, they could just completely do something new.
Yeah, it's one of the big. I think we're probably a good at least 10 years away from a Red Dead 3. I think it's on the horizon, but I mean it's interesting to talk about like what would be the ideal Red Dead 3 for you? Would it be a prequel with like the start of the gang, Arthur joining, ending in Blackwater, or like
Mhm.
how is that a good thing for you? Or there's people talking about it maybe being a civil war type thing.
Civil War would be good. I only say that because I remember Assassin's Creed,
Mm,
the one Assassin's Creed 3, when you played as the native Connor, that
yeah,
was during the Civil War.
yeah,
And that was just really good. And I thought, like, during this, I just think it'd be great. Like, Civil War, Red Dead, or if you played as a native.
yeah. That'd be
Getting to play as
interesting.
a native would be great because you always play as a cowboy, not really,
Yeah.
but why play as a native or a Mexican, or do it like GTA and switch characters, but
Yes.
bring it
Yeah.
all together.
Yeah. I
I
think
don't
we'll
know.
we'll kind of. I guess we might see what kind of way, at least the mechanics in the engines, going when GTA 6 is finally released, because feels like Red Dead 2
hmm
was an advancement on GTA 5. GTA 6 is
Yeah.
going to be take a lot of Red Dead 2 stuff and then
hmm
hopefully advance on that again.
Hopefully, we're taking the fighting from Red Dead 2 because the GTA 5 fighting, like
Yeah.
fist fighting, was terrible.
Yeah, I think I've done everything in a slightly odd order just because I only started really playing games in the past couple of years. It's like
Yeah.
playing GTA 5 after playing Red Dead 2 is a mistake because you're like, well, it feels like a huge downgrade, but actually
Uh-huh.
what it was that Red Dead 2 was just a huge advancement on GTA 5. Like you can see all the stuff that they added in that made you more invested. The honor system, the kind of interactions with NPCs were much higher. Like it was a
Yeah.
much more open world.
Yeah, the world in general is just more alive. Like
Yeah,
every NPC has his own little thing going on. You
yeah,
can follow, like, I followed the guy from Valentine who works at this the hotel. I followed
yeah.
him to Blackwater just to
Right.
see what he would do. And then he goes to home, and then he has a drink in the saloon,
Yeah.
and then he stops and looks at a shop, and then he goes to bed, then he wakes up, and then he goes back to his job. I think he realized after a while because he turned around, and he ran into me on his horse. So
I mean, it is the depth of it. I mean, just one of the things that frustrated me most about GTA 5, it's a really stupid thing, but it's just massively frustrating, is that when I went to a building where there was a mission, there was
mm,
only one door that I could get through. And it's like, I played Red Dead where it's like, oh, in Red Dead, like, I could go through any door, I could climb
yeah.
on the balcony and go through the top if I wanted to. It's
hmm
just, obviously it's just
I only got Red Dead on PC to play RP.
okay. So where did RP for you? You talked a little bit about playing Red Dead Online.
hmm
Is that kind of the beginnings of?
So I've always been like that. So if I'm playing a game online and you can talk to people,
Mm,
I'll do a character
okay.
and then just because it makes it more interesting and people
So,
enjoy it. And I didn't
so
know roleplay for Red Dead was a thing. I heard
yeah,
about 5M,
hmm,
GTA roleplay, and then
yeah.
and then I saw something saying Red Dead RP. And I was like, that's not real, is it? And I was like, oh, it is. So
So what was the earliest? What was the kind of was? Obviously, I'm calling you Melvin, which is the name of your character. It's the only name I know you by. As is Charm, the only name you know me by.
yeah.
But is Melvin? Was Melvin like the first? Because Melvin is such a Melvin the character is such a fully formed, well-rounded thing with a history. Is that like the first fully formed character that you created,
No.
or like what was the first? What was the first character you can remember creating that felt like it was a complete thing?
The first character. Well, I used to do music a lot, and
Yeah.
I was in a band. We're called the Family Dickens.
Family Dickens.
Yeah, and we used to pretend we were from Kentucky,
Right.
and I would be called Buddy Lee Dickens. And
Buddy
I'd wear
Lee
all,
Dickens.
yeah,
Nice.
and I'd wear all the the bolo tie and
Yeah,
everything. But the thing is, it even got to the point where I would get on the bus. I used to live in Essex. I get on the bus and be like, "How you doing there? I'll take a little." And yeah, so probably Buddy Lee Dickens, because like I did a lot of gigs as Buddy Lee, and when I'm at a gig, that's it. I'm him.
That's a kind of IRL character.
Yeah, and I did a lot. We
roaming
released
around.
albums and that. Not
Yeah.
not that they were big or anything, but it's just country punk music.
Okay. Nice.
And then Melvin came along, so
And then Melvin came along after that.
I've had Melvin for ages though. And Melvin, like, he started as a just a sketch sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I did a sketch with a puppet that's a monkey puppet called Elvis,
Yeah.
and it was just him pushing me down the stairs.
And that's where Melvin started.
Yeah,
So what was the inspiration? Because he's kind of this
he's
American,
Jewish.
Jewish.
Yeah. It's Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
You know, Larry David.
Yes.
It all came from that, and then Woody Allen. No, is it Woody Allen? Yeah, as well, because they're very like, oh my god, oh, that sort of thing. And I just really like that voice, and I love Jewish comedy, like that sort of comedy. It's Seinfeld, and it just makes me laugh. I just find it so funny, and like Larry David's hilarious.
Yes, he is.
It's great. And then I just thought I want to do something with that voice. And I was worried because when I started posting it on Instagram, I got the attention of a guy called Bernie Shine, and he's friends with a lot of American Jewish comedians and actors.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Ross, Fred Stoller. Fred Stoller was I'm Fred Stoller. What's he in? He's in Dumb and Dumber. He was in Seinfeld. And I even did a character based on him called Cardboard Fred.
Cardboard Fred.
And he liked it, yeah. And he's a puppet as well. But they loved it. And I used to go, oh my God, what a mitzvah, hello. And then I started doing the podcast. There's an app called Stereo. And I would do shows on stereo, like with Bernie. And then I would just keep talking to people. And I'd leave comments because you can talk to people. And like, if you're listening, you can send voice comments in.
Yes.
And I'd be like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Oh, what a mitzvah. My mother's here. Say hi, Ma. And stuff like that. And then people just seemed to like it. And they verified me on there. And then I had a talk with Jeff Ross on there, which was awesome because it's Jeff Ross and he's the roast master.
Yeah.
And he was just playing along with it. And he's well Jewish. He's like super Jewish.
So was your concern around it that...
I didn't want to be anti-Semitic or anything.
You didn't want to be anti-Semitic. You didn't want to feel like you were kind of appropriating that.
Yeah. No, they were fine with it. It was fine.
Yeah. The other thing is it's so well done that the character isn't the butt of the joke really. I'll be honest. When I first came across it, he kind of is, but him being Jewish is definitely not the butt of the joke.
I never really say he's Jewish. His mother, on the other hand, is like, oh, hello, Melvin, my puppy. Let's have some gefilte fish.
Yeah, you never say he's Jewish, but he's definitely throwing some kind of Yiddish phrases in there.
Yeah, he says like, "Oh, that's verkauft."
Yeah,
my bubbler.
Yeah,
Yiddish is a wonderful language. I love Yiddish as well. So I needed to do something. And when I'm Melvin, I don't feel like I'm not a very confident person. But when I'm him, one of
the things that I didn't expect when I first went into RP was how much it felt like how much it felt the same as real life in the sense of to walk up to another person in there and just start a conversation. I was
Yeah.
like, why do I feel anxious about this?
Yeah, you can get anxious about it.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's why it's so good to be able to go into RP with you, because
I
all
talk
that
to
ice
anyone.
is broken like almost immediately. But
Yeah,
it
but
was
that's how I do
surprising.
it. That's how I break the ice. If I'm mean to them, they're gonna say something back or shoot me, and it's gonna break the ice instead of just standing there like, "Oh, hello, hello." You know what I mean?
So Melvin is pretty well known across a number of servers
Mm,
in Red Dead roleplay,
yeah.
and I mean, essentially he just walks around uh, causing trouble. Like how much of it, from the character's perspective, how much of it is intentional? I'm gonna reel these people in, or I'm gonna wind these people
Oh,
up.
it's always
Versus,
intentional.
it's always intentional. He knows
Yeah,
what he's doing.
because people get, that people get so angry, and it's good to take role play seriously. It's great to have great scenes like that, and you can have great scenes.
Yeah.
But like, it's just I know that they're going to get angry, and it just makes me laugh.
Well, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because I think people mix up taking it seriously with being serious, right?
Yeah,
We've done RP scenes together that have been hilarious,
yeah, but it's in role play. It's in character.
taking it serious.
Yeah.
You're taking the comedy of it seriously, I guess.
But people don't get that. See, a lot of people like think I'm a troll.
Yeah,
They think I'm toxic, whatever that word means.
yeah.
I never swear. The only thing I really call people is a troglodyte.
And
That's
they get
it.
annoyed by that because
Yeah.
they don't know what it is, I think.
Nah. And it's just they get so angry, and it's just like I don't swear. Melvin doesn't swear. He doesn't do anything like that.
He's quite the character is quite childlike in lots of ways. A very intelligent character, I guess, and quite well read. But you often see him in scenes where if somebody does swear, for example, Melvin will always say, "Don't use a bad word when you can use a good word." My
Yeah.
mother always, he has this kind of, I suppose it's a slightly stereotypical Jewish mother relationship that you could see in lots of these shows.
I took it from the real life sketches, because I did sketches with puppets where my mother is a puppet.
Yeah.
And stuff, and I played my dad, Sammy the Spiel.
Yeah.
And I had puppets and that. Sammy's more like what's his name? He's a Jewish comedian. Hey, tell ya. Ooh, what's his name?
Oh, the guy that said, "I gotta get some respect to get no respect around here."
Yeah,
that kind of guy. Yeah,
but he's based on him, and then in Red Dead, Melvin's he's not a nice person, but in the sketches, Melvin's supposed to be sweet, and his mother's horrible.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder whether it feels like almost it's like, that thing of when the kids around their mother, they're well behaved, and when they get out, they become this kind of rebel without a cause. They kind of get that stuff out in the outside. So what's within the Red Dead universe? What's the backstory of Melvin then? So I've heard lots of different. He feels like a little bit of a the Joker character.
He's based on that, but that's partially because of I don't even know why. To be honest, like when I started with Melvin and Red Dead, I came in and I had a bow tie and braces, and I had a little mustache and glasses, and I'm like, "Oh, hello there, how are you?
Yeah.
Yes," and I played piano in the saloon.
Yes.
But then I got in a fight with someone, and I was like, "All right," and then we had a fight, and I ended up stabbing him, and it just changed the whole thing. I like in the thing, it just changed the whole thing, and then
so kind of an actual in-game event shifted the trajectory
it
of that
changed
character.
him, and then after that, I just went off on a spree of annoying people with that voice, and then being all like really nice and that, and then when getting them on their own, they'd be like, "Very bad idea." And then people seem to like it, and then eventually got a job as an undertaker in Sing County, and that was the first undertaker job there.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, all right, he's the leader of the Undertakers now, but I'm going to run it, so they have to pay me to work for me. And I did the interviews I did. 8 people went in there.
Yeah.
Only 6 of them came out alive because they were swearing and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, that was, and then it just kind of went from there, and it got darker and darker, and it turned into more poetry.
Yeah.
And then obviously Violet, known Violet a long time, do a lot of roleplay with her. She's really good at roleplay.
Yeah.
So it's good to have people who are good at it, you know? Like you, for instance, when I first did it with you. Like you're in character. It's hard for me to stay in character because you're making me laugh. but
I feel
you
like
are.
that's
Do you know what I mean?
part
That's
of
why
part
it's
of the
good.
fun when we're in role play together is like who's gonna break first.
Yeah.
You know, the scenes that we're doing.
It's just
if I can make you break.
Yeah.
It's...
The story, man. The story you came up with about the child and that still makes me laugh.
I think
It's so funny.
I think that story developed over time, didn't it? But I think we had just got out of prison.
Yeah.
And we there was just like an offhand comment about something, and then you added something onto that, and then I added something onto that.
Yeah, it turned into a big con story, I think.
This whole story.
You tell people about it, and they give you money for it and stuff.
They did, yeah. That was fun. And then the callbacks to it, like in everything after that, even when we were doing the therapy role play stuff.
Yeah, I always bring it up. Like I always bring it up, especially when Violet's there. She doesn't like it.
She hates the
She's
story
heard it too many
so
times.
Oh dear.
It's funny.
So right, in Red Dead roleplay, where is Melvin's mother? Let's clear this up. Where is she?
Well, Melvin had a mother who I played his mother in Red Dead.
Oh, okay.
And she's a little ginger lady, and she walked around like, "Hey, puppy," and stuff. And then she got stabbed by Violet and chucked into a river. But then it turned out that wasn't Melvin's mother.
Right, okay.
And another lady came in who looked like Melvin's mother, who turned out to be his real mother. And then they made up. And then it's funny because I would go in the shed, like in Red Dead. And then if I was having Melvin and his mother talk, I would do both the voices so no one could see. And I'd be like, "Hey, ma, how you doing, puppy? Are you coming out?" "No, I can't come." And I just do that. And then she died from an illness or something. And then that's pretty much. And then Melvin's uncle came in, who sounded like Fred.
Right.
And he was a train conductor. "I'm a train conductor." And then yeah. And then there was another character called Sebastian Huckleberry who came in, who knew Melvin. And he was more like an old Western sort of sheriff guy.
Right.
"I'm Sebastian Huckleberry, darling. You eyeballing me, son?" Stuff like that. And then Vinny, he was a ped. When me and Violet became admins of a server called Deadwood County, and there was a tax man. They had to collect, like, because people have to pay for rent for their houses, so they keep their houses in the game.
Yeah.
So I met a guy called Vinny Machucho. "My name's Vinny Machucho. What the fuck are you talking, huh?" It's same sort of similar thing as Melvin, but he's more a mobster sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of Italian.
And he would go around
mobster.
collecting the money. But every time he collected the money, every person he get it from would shoot him and kill him because he's horrible. But I think that was part of the joke, really.
Yeah.
They chuck me to the gators. They do all sorts, but he'd always show up every week.
So
yeah.
Is Melvin's mother is she frozen on a mountain somewhere?
She's up north.
She's up north.
I always say to people, I can't bring her down because she'll fall out. And they're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, she's up north."
And
they don't get the joke half the time.
Melvin wears his mother's makeup.
Yeah, the white face paint.
The white face paint.
He wears that, and he wears a skull on his face as well.
Yeah. That
he got from some guy's grave called Stanley. Some cop.
I think it's rare that you see. There's obviously good role players out there who have good backstory and stuff, but it's rare that you see that backstory seems to have like truly developed in game as opposed to necessarily being something that's been like, this is, I'm going to write this down and think of this before.
Yeah, no, I just go with it. Like at the minute, Melvin's an admiral. There's a war going on. New Austin versus Lemoyne, and the battle's actually tonight at 10 o'clock. I'll be live streaming it. But he got the job as an admiral. I don't know. Melvin doesn't know what he's doing. He stands there with a sword like that, and he's got sailors. I've got actual sailors and stuff.
Right.
And I've got a boat, and yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. But he's an admiral now. He's going around telling everyone, recruiting people.
I like it. I mean, one of the other things I've seen you doing actually is it all seems like you say, it all seems to revolve around the ability to like communicate with other people in an online space. You've done the Civil War reenactment stuff, where again it's a very similar Melvin character, kind of
They're all
walking
Melvin,
around, telling other people that they're doing it wrong and what they
yeah.
should be
Fail
doing.
RP. There's no fail RP. I mean, to be honest, that game, they do have serious events every Saturday where it's proper line battles and that.
Right. Okay.
And it is really fun because people are listening. It's like you're actually there, you know?
Yeah.
Not really, but, you know.
I like
And
it.
But yeah, no, it's good. I do that. When I play Sea of Thieves, Captain Spiel, it's just all Melvin because I think he can fit in most places, to be honest.
Yeah.
Captain Spiel. I'm trying to think of other stuff. I have never done GTA roleplay.
He would work well in GTA roleplay.
Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of a timeless character, really, isn't he? Because you can just put him anywhere, like you say, and he can work within that space.
Yeah, I just think he's suited to Red Dead the most, just because
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but he's not a cowboy, but he's old fashioned.
Yeah, he's definitely that. I think it's that. I think there's probably less of the kind of macabre stuff in GTA. There's less of that.
Yeah,
that going
and like
on,
the
whereas
Old
it
West
seems
is kind of macabre itself. I think.
Exactly.
And we're around the time most servers put themselves at 1899, 1901.
Yeah,
we're around the time where Edgar Allan Poe has already been and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's perfect.
yeah,
That's who Melvin idolizes.
yes. Yeah,
Edgar Allan Poe.
He's got his like libraries and stuff, and
Oh yeah.
so a lot of your characters are based around, I suppose, American tropes of, whether it's Italian mobsters or Jewish comedians or whatever that might be.
Yeah, I don't really do English.
Talk to me about
British.
Jeremy Sherbert. That's what I want to.
Well, it's just a name at the minute,
Just
isn't it?
Give me how does Jeremy Sherbert sound?
Jeremy. Hello there, I'm Jeremy Sherbert. He's like the Chuckle
we've
Brothers.
talked about Jeremy Sherbert probably 5 times now, and all I've ever heard you say is, "Hello there, I'm Jeremy Sherbert."
So he says.
My response is, "All right, I'm Timothy Popping Candy."
Come on, Timothy. Yeah, that's it.
Come on, Timothy. We've got some sweets to deliver.
Oh, I forgot my gun, but don't worry, here's what I made earlier. I just haven't done that yet, the character. I think it'd be funny, though. Jeremy Sherbert, how you doing? And then I did have a character for a while called Pat Ryder, and he was similar. He was like a 90s sort of guy, and he was like, "My name's Pat Ryder, psychic medium." Because they're all psychic mediums back then. So.
Just like a Mystic Meg's lesser-known husband or something.
Kind of, yeah. But I did do a few videos with him, and I went into a shop. I don't know where the video's gone, but I actually went. I always wore a Christmas cardigan as him, and had big curly hair, like 90s mullet. And I went into a Tesco's, and I bought some milk. And I was like, I can feel the presence of this milk. And the lady's just like, what's going on? And I was like, I stood there, and I said, have you noticed the milk's white? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, ghost milk. And I stood there for 5 minutes. Just stood there for 5 minutes looking at her.
Oh, you know what? One of the it's weird, right? When you don't.
That's funny.
Well, I did stand up and lots of stuff when I was and music and stuff when I was younger, and you obviously build up a tolerance to the fear of doing those things as you're doing them in real time. But if you leave it for a while, that fear comes back.
Oh yeah, come back.
And I want to, one of the things I want to do is go out in public and do that stuff again. But it's doing it that first time is always the hardest time. I remember the first time I went busking.
Oh yeah.
And I only took enough bus fare to get me into town, not to get me back out.
Okay.
So like I had to
Did you get the money to get back out?
I got it. I mean, this is the days when it was like 50p or something, 60p to get back on the bus. But yeah, I just remember walking up and down past the busking spot like 5 times before getting the guts. And the truth is, nobody cares. Nobody realizes what you're doing. You get the odd people telling you to get a real job and all that kind of stuff, but that
but
really doesn't change.
in Edinburgh, like close where I live, Glasgow, even London, you can book a spot to busk in the city. You know what I mean? So it is some people's real job. They make a lot of money from it.
I mean, in London, you have to go and audition to get a license to busk. Certainly like on the tube, those specific spots where you see buskers, those guys will make a decent amount of cash. I mean, I was 16, 17 busking, and for me it was like, if I made 20, 30 pound in a couple of hours, I was like, wow, this is amazing, and it was a way to just practice music in a real setting. That was the best thing about it. But
see, I was always in bands. I would bus, but I was in bands, and I was in punk bands, so we would play with like old punk bands, like Eddie and the Hot Rods. Supported them. Some guy from In Me. You ever heard the band In Me?
No,
no one has. They're really good. They're from Brentwood, but they were a big band. And, who else have I supported? I've supported loads of people, but yeah, I don't know.
Talk to me about the music, because you talented pianist. Do you play any other instruments?
Guitar, ukulele. Ukulele I learned because of Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I wanted to learn how to play it. And
nice.
It's really easy to play.
And then you can play guitar, you can play bass. Everyone knows that. So
yeah, bass, guitar, but piano is probably I'm not the best at it, but I really like it.
Is that your main instrument then, piano?
It is now, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say if I was going to play live, it'd be with a piano.
Okay. So you, where did the music come in to this? You're kind of. I used to describe myself as a Renaissance man, right? Because I just didn't, mainly because I didn't have one interest that I was like, I can just dedicate myself to this one thing forever. It was like, today I want to paint. Today
you want to do that?
Make some music.
I've heard you say that before. Yeah, that makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think there's this illusion now that you have to be this one thing. You just have to be this one thing and dedicate yourself to that. And I think to an extent, that's true. There are people who are specialists and become experts at one thing. Mm-hmm. But then you look at, like you say, the Renaissance period, where it's like, well, this guy was an inventor and a painter and a...
I was going to say, you like to paint, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do. I mean, I like it in the sense that...
And you're good at it.
I'm okay. But it's one of those things where it's... I don't know if you have anything like this where there's a middle section of it where I detest it and I hate the process, and you really have to battle to get through that to get to the end product.
I get that with writing songs and stuff like that. Writing songs is annoying. But I did jingles as Melvin. It used to be called Melvin's Melodies.
Right.
And I wrote jingles. I even wrote one for Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
I'm not joking either. My YouTube picture, there's a picture of me, like it's kind of like a circle and it's a cartoon sort of thing. That was the logo for Melvin's Melodies.
Nice.
And I would write, all people I'd meet on Stereo, they always wanted theme tunes, and they would pay me to write them theme tunes, and I did like maybe 10 or something, then it got a bit quiet. But
so you just used to write theme tunes for people from the podcast?
For their podcasts, for their adverts.
Nice.
Stuff like that.
Like it.
But I use Melvin as the character.
There's definitely a thing with that, because I don't know if you've listened to Adam Buxton's podcast. If you ever listen to that, it's he's kind of a 90s TV guy, but he interviews people now, and he writes all his own kind of jingles and ads in between, like really well produced music with funny lyrics and stuff. But there's definitely something in that. So you played music, you played in bands, you code, which we haven't really talked about in any significant detail.
That's how I make my living.
So you make your living from coding now, and is the majority of that now for RedM servers? Is it that kind of thing? So it's all kind of
the majority is, yeah. I'm working on my own game and that, and trying to learn new engines and stuff, because I want to release my own game.
Nice.
Because that's the aim, really. Because you can't really rely just on RedM, because you don't know if it's just going to disappear one day, do you? You don't know. I don't think it will, but
or whatever that
I mean,
might be.
they've been bought by Rockstar. The people who run it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's what I do every day. I do the coding if I'm not role playing
Yeah.
or I don't know, doing something else. Because like my wife's at work, she's an accountant on TV shows,
Yeah.
so she's away. And she's working on Outlander at the minute, which is pretty
Is your
awesome.
wife's? I thought you meant she was like Saul Goodman, like an accountant on a TV show.
No,
Kind of, is
no,
she? Is
no.
she embezzling money and
Yeah,
laundering money for?
no. She's
Mark?
she works in the accounts department,
Nice.
and
Okay.
then but both my boys are at home
Yeah.
because we're in Scotland. People finish school earlier here
Yeah.
than they do. And then my daughter's at school, but I work from home, so and luckily I can do all the coding from home.
Nice. I mean,
But
what's interesting about this conversation is for a lot of people, this will be the first time that they've ever heard you not speaking as Melvin.
yeah, I know.
Do you feel? You said you're fairly shy or not as kind of confident outside of character. How do you feel about? I remember the first time I heard your real voice. I was like, "This is so weird." I remember having to ask you, "Hey, man, where are you from?"
Yeah,
And you said Scotland, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought this guy was from like Brooklyn or
yeah.
something
See,
like
I get
that.
that a lot when people hear my voice. The only like, there's few people who know it. Like, if you used to watch my Twitch when I did Twitch for a bit, I
Yeah,
would use my real voice
yeah,
and that. But I always think like if I'm going to stream now, I'm just going to keep it in character all the time,
yeah,
even when like I'm talking to the people in the comments and that.
yeah.
I'll keep it in character because it makes me more confident. Plus, I think they probably prefer it.
I
And it's
think
hard to go, oh hi there in Red Dead or something, and go, hey, you're a goddamn troglodyte. Hi there, how are you?
yeah,
And it,
it's definitely switching in and out is
yeah,
challenging. I don't
so
think
just,
people realize how. I don't think people realize one how much energy it takes to stay in that character for if you're streaming for 3 or 4 hours to be in that. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, so maybe it gets easier, but it's definitely um it's tiring. Like when I was doing the Christoph Walken stuff, it's like this is a kind of borderline impression, and
hmm
it requires me to really think about it every time I'm doing it.
yeah,
And then how difficult it is to switch between. I think that when you were talking about you having conversations between Melvin and Melvin's mother,
yeah.
there's a real skill involved in being able to switch between two different characters, two
And when
different
it
voices.
works, it looks so good.
Oh
Like
yeah, for sure.
if you've got people watching, or it's good when like the people are watching your stream and they know you're doing it. But even the people who are in the server and they're like you're inside a building and they can hear you,
Yeah.
they think there's two people in there, but there's not. Or like you do it and the cops, you're like, I'm gonna kill you, Dad. No, don't kill me. And then the cops will come in and can't find their body because there isn't one. Yeah.
So what's next? What's next for you then?
It's the game. I'm at the minute. I'm working on. I've got a server that I just mess around with and I change it all the time. A Red Dead server.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a server so I can get donations through the server.
Yeah.
Like, just another way to make extra money. I guess I'm not that bothered about donations. It just helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm working on an only up thing that I've showed you.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm building that, and hopefully that'll get people interested because all there's roleplay servers, but there's so much more to it. You can make anything you can make in Roblox, you can make in Red Dead.
Yeah.
And people don't do it. They're just like, oh, I want to be a horse trainer. I want to go train a horse.
I think an only up like a multiplayer where it's a race, but there's all these different dynamics because you've got guns and it's not just
I'm gonna add
it's like if
guns.
someone's ahead, like you can maybe you get limited ammo or something, but you can kind of disrupt other people's journey through. You can
It
push
would
people
suck,
off.
man, if you were so high up and then someone just went bang and
Yeah.
you'd go right back to the bottom.
Yeah, and that's it. It's just that whole kind of race to the top. I think it's that kind of, is it Fall Guys where it's like
Yeah,
you
Fall
can
Guys.
push each other off and that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I mean, because it's Red Dead, it's really like placing objects when you're coding it
Yeah,
is really finicky because you need to place it in the right place. Or like say the object's here
yeah,
and like you're here, you might run and then jump over the side. instead of jumping forward. So you've got to get it just right, because you don't. Sure, you want to make it hard, but you don't want it so they always fall over the side. You want to make they have to be able to get past it.
If you look at Only Up, for example, right near the top, there's a section where I think it's like pizzas or something, and one of them, the one right in front of you, you step on it and it disappears, it falls. So you get
it's like
near
an
the top.
obby.
Yeah. So
you know what an obby is, don't you?
No.
You ever played Roblox?
No, I haven't. No.
I know it's like more of a kids thing, but people can make amazing stuff with Roblox. And an obby is literally an assault course that you have to jump over stuff, and that's pretty much what it is. The platforms disappear and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely up for that, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, it has taken a long time, actually. I'm a pretty busy guy, so...
I know. That's...
Not really.
I'm very lucky to have nabbed you for this 45 minutes.
I need to go buy my buck fast.
You could have made tens of pounds during this time, but instead you've just given your time away.
But that's the thing again. The coding I do for RedM, a lot of it's passive money, because I could go to sleep and wake up with £200.
Nice.
Not straight away, obviously, because everyone takes money from you, but...
Yeah.
But you make the script. I've got hundreds of scripts, and it's just... People buy them, and you make a new one, and people buy that, and it just carries on and carries on. But like I said, I need to make my own game. So
definitely, man.
About you.
About me.
Yeah.
Charms Adventures.
I can make a Flappy Charm game.
Flappy Charm.
I can make any. I could make any game with your face on it.
Flappy Charm. I like it. Right. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. And
it's all right.
I'm looking forward to playing these games with you and seeing more about it.
Yeah, me too.